It's a make or break day for the Toronto Blue Jays. The artificial clock that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has provided the front office with is set to expire today. And this is a day that can truly determine the next decade plus of this franchise. Will they be in the gutter or will they be able to extend their franchise superstar? We'll break that down and much more on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, everybody, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vrionis. Hopefully you all enjoyed your weekends, and my voice is back to normal today, so that is a good sign as well. And this is a crucial day in Toronto Blue Jays history, a crucial day in Toronto sports history in general, as Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who gave the Blue Jays a time clock that the start of spring training would be the end of the negotiation period, and if they weren't to come to agreement by then he would enter free agency at the end of the year. But before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. A large percentage of you who are watching these videos are not subbed to the channel, so shout out to you guys for all of the support. But Vladdy, man, this is a very important day in Toronto Blue Jays history, and I may be underselling it just a little bit. Today is the last day for the Blue Jays to extend Vladdy Jr. Any extension would be the biggest contract in Blue Jays franchise history and one of the biggest in MLB history. If there's no extension by tonight, he'll hit free agency after the season at age 26. Now, that is what everyone expects, at least. So Vladdy has been very vocal. He's been going on some podcasts, doing it in Spanish, and he's been saying that he's been pretty consistent with this deadline, that the start of spring training, which begins tomorrow officially, some players have already reported, some pitchers and catchers have been there throwing side sessions, and you have some hitters as well getting some early work in and some BP and some live confrontations. But Vladdy has not reported yet. He is reporting tomorrow when it is officially mandated in his contract to do so. Shouldn't read too heavily into that. I mean, he's been doing work on his own as well, so it's not like he's rolling into camp out of shape and not ready for the season. He's ready to go, but he will officially report tomorrow, which we all suspect to mark the end of this negotiation period that he has set on the Toronto Blue Jays front office. It's been a long couple of weeks for Toronto Blue Jay fans. We're basically walking on pins and needles here. We're waiting for an announcement to come out and basically relieve us of all of the damages that have been done over the past couple of years, whether it's the Ohtani madness, Soto mania, or even the Roki Sasaki garbage that went down earlier this offseason. But Vladdy, there's no reason to think that he's not a massive part of this team, and he is the face of this franchise. And maybe lost in all of this has been Bo Bichette. Now, for those of you that have followed me on Jay's Digest, you know that I'm not really a massive Bo Bichette fan, but I can call a spade a spade. He's one of the better contact hitters in Major League Baseball. And for a team that is starved for offense, I don't know if you're necessarily in a position to just let that guy walk out the door. But I can see a world where it happens just because all of their focus and all of their eggs are in the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. basket, which is to be expected because he's the better player, he has the higher ceiling, he's more marketable, and when people think Toronto Blue Jays, they immediately think of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He is the guy that you think of, and Keegan Matheson does a great job reporting on everything Toronto Blue Jays. Today is the final day for extension negotiations between Vladdy and the Jays front office. For timing, I'll consider the deadline when Vladdy gets out of his car and walks into the complex tomorrow morning. So Keegan Matheson maybe being a little bit loose with this deadline. He's given them an extra couple of hours to get this baby signed, sealed, and delivered. But nothing as of yet. It's currently 11:50 a.m. at time of the recording. So we're going to wait and see. We're on a wait and see basis right now. But if you had any reservations about how great Vladdy was last year, I mean, just take a look at those numbers. Shout out to Blue Jays Today for digging those up out of the archives. Vladdy went off in the second half of 2024, batted 376 with a 450 on base and a 678 slug. Pretty good numbers right there. An OPS of 1.127, 16 home runs, scored 50 runs, and 46 RBIs to boot. So they're imploring the Blue Jays, please extend our king. And I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. That is Blue Jays Today. Check them out on YouTube or wherever they are. Apple Podcasts as well. Not quite sure, but they do some good work over there. And check out Jays Digest, of course, as well. But this is just a situation that didn't need to get to this point. And I understand that there were some hesitations from the Blue Jays front office, and for good reason, because Vladdy had two MVP caliber years, and he probably would have won the MVP had it not been for Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani putting up historic numbers in those respective seasons. But he's also had two lackluster years and one good year. I'd say very good year. One very good year, two MVP caliber years, and two so-so seasons by his standards, where he was still above league average, but ever so slightly. And that is not what you want out of a first baseman, especially not one that is slated to make around $35 to $40 million on an annual basis. So I understand that the Blue Jays maybe wanted to see a little bit more out of Vladdy, and they didn't want to jump the gun on an extension. We know the numbers. He declined a $150 million deal after his first MVP caliber season. Then he declined a $350 million deal just a couple of weeks ago. So they're still a ways away in terms of the number game here. And I think Vladdy, it would be smart for him to sign an extension right now, especially considering the last year that he had. He's going to be able to cash in, but it may not be smart for the Blue Jays. What if he reverts back to some old habits? That being said, I don't think you could think of any of that. And I get that it's a business, and you have to make financially responsible decisions if you're the Jays front office. I get all of that. But at the same time, you have struggled immensely to acquire superstar talent, whether it's via free agency, whether it's via trade. You have struggled to acquire those top players in the game. Now, you have one in your own backyard who has been very vocal about wanting to remain a Blue Jay for life. He loves the city of Toronto. He loves the country of Canada. He was born in Montreal. All the makings are right there for you to sign this guy who wants to remain a Toronto Blue Jay. So why complicate it? Why even run the risk of letting him hit free agency and seeing all the glitz and the glamour of the 29 other teams in Major League Baseball? I don't think that is a risk that the Blue Jays should be willing to take. I don't think it's a risk that they should take. So extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr., get this whole thing sorted out, because it's really starting to weigh on the emotional wellness of the Toronto Blue Jays faithful. So shout out to you guys for making it this far. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think Vladdy is going to sign an extension by the end of the day? It's deadline day. It's exciting. And this is what we become fans for. It's for moments like these. But hopefully Vladdy can remain a Blue Jay beyond this season. And I will see you all tomorrow.